right, adding and subtracting positives and negatives. I'm going to go ahead and say this is one of the most important videos, and it's because there are so many common mistakes with adding and subtracting positives and negatives. So I'm going to give you a three-step process today, and if you follow these 3 steps, I promise, if you follow them correctly, you won't have any wrong answers. So let's take some notes. The first step is ensure you have an addition expression. So, well, if you have an addition problem, then you're already set. You've ensured that you've made sure that you have addition. But if it's subtraction, you can play add ops. We've talked about why this makes sense. This is my favorite game, Call of Math, add ops. And it tells us that if we have something like 23 minus 12, that expression, it's equal to 23 plus negative 12. So instead of subtracting, we can add the opposite. If you look to the right hand side, you can see that I'm saying if you have negative 6 minus 14 to play add ops, you're going to say, I don't like that minus sign. We're going to add the opposite of 14, which is negative 14. And this makes sense. So in the first example right there, if you have 23 points and you lose 12 points, that's obviously minus 2. But you could also think of that as you having 23 points and then or plus a negative 12 effect on your points total. The second step after you make sure you have an addition expression is to make sure that you know the sign of your answer. You need to determine the sign of your answer. And how are we going to do that? We're going to take the sign of the bigger addend. So we have an addition expression, and we're going to look at the two numbers we're adding, and whichever number has the higher value, that's going to have the sign of our answer. And then finally, we're going to add the values if the signs are the same, and we're going to subtract if the signs are different. So this goes back to algebra tiles we talked about in class and we used in class. So if the signs are the same, we have all the same color algebra tiles. We're just going to put those values together, count them all up. But if we have signs that are different, we have different colored algebra tiles, we need to subtract the values because there's going to be some zero pairs and some canceling. Let's do some practice problems. Example number 1 is negative 12 plus negative 6. Step number 1, make sure that I have an addition problem, and I do. Step number 2, determine the sign of my answer. Okay, well they're both negative, and the bigger magnitude or the bigger value is negative 12, so our answer should be negative. And then finally, the two addends had the same sign, and if they had the same sign, then we're going to add the values. So 12 plus 6 is 18, so our answer is negative 18 because we added two negatives. For number 2, we have 9 minus 16 and 25 hundredths. Again, the first step we want to do is make sure we have an addition problem. We don't, so we're going to play add ops, and now we have 9 plus negative 16 and 25 hundredths. We played add ops. We added the opposite. And now in this case, second step is to determine the sign of our answer, and the bigger value is with the negative. So again, we're going to have a negative answer, and I'll indicate that right there because we have more negatives than positives. But because the signs are different, we know we need to subtract. We're going to have some cancellation of positive and negative algebra tiles. So I'll just do that subtraction over here. 16 and 25 hundredths minus 9 and 0 hundredths. 0 from 5 is 5, 0 from 2 is 2, 9 from 16 is 7. So the value of our answer is 7 and 25 hundredths, but we know that we have a negative answer, so it's negative 7 and 25 hundredths. That looks good. And so we're going to move on to one last example problem. 3, Notre Dame had 182 yards of offense in the first quarter. Oh, that is the wrong use of there. Mr. Barrett will be furious. If their opponent had negative 36 yards, how many more yards did ND have? So in this case, we're looking for a difference, and we know that a difference always means subtraction. So I need to subtract these two numbers. We're going to take Notre Dame's 182 and subtract, I'll do it horizontally first, subtract a negative 36. And for this problem, I want to play add ops to make addition. So we have 182 plus 36. I'll line up these place values to make sure I do it right. And we have 218. So ND had 218 more yards. We want a full sentence answer. 218 more yards. Is this reasonable? We were wondering how many more yards ND had, and we gave an answer of more yards, so we're all good. I'm going to leave you with the practice problems, and I'm going to sign off.